mind. He's one of the first guys off my mind when I think about like where he was in spring to now. Mason Murphy comes to mind. A lot of guys have made a big jump. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Samarian Gordon comes to mind. There's a lot more that have and haven't. I put it that way. I mean, the guys that have been able to just stay on the field, stay healthy, whether it's on the field or be able to go in full participation in an off-season program, they've all made strides. There's no doubt about it. So those are three guys that you say, you turn on the film spring, then you turn on the film fall, and there's a noticeable, a really big gap. So obviously they did a pretty good job throughout the summer and here in fall camp.
2 weeks left until the opener. Any specific position battles that are still kind of tight, heading up into the
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the both specialist battles, both kicker and punter, are entertaining and fun to watch. Those guys who compete hard. I think there's battles within some of these skill spots, especially, and some of the fronts too. Of no doubt, some of these guys are going to play, and it comes down to how much. Is a guy going to dominate the amount of reps, or kind of how that's going to shake out. So I think we have that at a number of the skill positions right now. I think we have that. I think we have several backs who we want to play with right now. I think we have several receivers we want to play with. I think we have multiple corners we want to play with. We've been a little banged up at safety throughout camp, but we'll get some of those guys back here on Monday. So I do think safety ultimately and nickel both are going to look like that. Left tackle's interesting right now, certainly. I think I feel like Voorhees and Nealon and Dietich and Monheim have continued where they left off in spring, and I feel like those guys, if they played today, would certainly be starters. And right now, we think both Portland and Bobby are good enough that I'm sure they're both going to have a role, and wouldn't rule out that one of them could potentially not play another position. That they're both smart enough to do it, and have done it some here for us in camp. The interior D-line, I think you're looking at 5 or 6 guys that are definitely going to play, and then just how much do you rotate them? So still a lot. I mean, it's it's the selection of this is an ongoing process. It's never finite. It never ends, and so it'll be fun to watch this through. And then one of the things we push the guys really hard on that we're going to have to do a tremendous job of is the best teams continue to improve throughout the year, and the only way you continue to improve is obviously learn lessons and all that in games, but you've got to keep improving in practice, and to improve it's got to be competitive. I mean, it's just human nature, that's the way it is. So we continue the competition throughout practices all year. We'll see it. I mean, there'll be somebody this year that's a starter in game 1 that isn't in game 5, and somebody that's on the scout team or a 2 or a 3 in game 1, and all of a sudden becomes a starter. And we have a lot of great examples of that in the past, so it'll be kind of fun to see how those competitions go on, not only through the next few weeks in the first game, but obviously throughout the year.
What's the most pressing concern biggest in camp for you?
I definitely get your question. I just don't look at it that way. Like, I just look at it like everybody's got to improve. Everybody, even though the group right now, you go say, all right, the group right now is your best group. They still got to get better, right? The group right now that's your most thin or least talented group, they still got to get better. The coaches still got to get better. Like, I think for us, to me, it would be just continuing our climb. We can't think, all right, all of a sudden we're at the season and now we just go play these games and we don't have to keep pushing each other to get better. We need everybody to improve. So I think just the group understanding that, us as coaches doing a good job to handle it, will be important, because this will be the next few weeks will be new for us. The games will be new for us. We've handled the new relatively well so far, but we're going to keep getting challenged. We've got to keep responding.
So does next week when you guys transition into Rice prep?
We'll start looking at some opponent prep. The biggest thing for us next week is we got to start transitioning into how you practice during the season, because it's obviously there's some big differences from the season, from fall camp to season. You got to get these guys on schedule. One of the biggest differences when we start school, right? Everything changes. I mean, it's a totally different feel. And so we're going to try to remove all the new from game week. So you got to do as much as you can this week, exactly like it. So guys get in a rhythm, guys understand schedules, understand how we practice, when they need to sleep, when they need to eat, when they need to do recovery, when they need to be in study hall. I mean, it's kind of a trial and error, work through the kinks kind of week. Continue to compete on the field, and then we'll start to dive obviously very heavy into the opponent prep the next week.
As much as you want to keep the competition going these next 2 weeks, are you going to start laying out the depth chart and moving your starting quarterback, making that cover?
Yeah, we'll start to kind of look at it position by position. We got some that are, like we said, some positions that are starting to settle as far as you probably got a good idea of who's going to play in that first game. You got some that are certainly ongoing. I think where it really starts to separate now is, you start thinking about like your guys that are maybe a 3 on the depth chart or a 4, because now, it's do you rep them with an offense, defense, special teams? Do you rep them as a scout teamer so you get a good look and they can continue to get reps against quality players? Those are really the biggest decisions you got to make now, because obviously the team needs everybody to function well, and we're going to need some of those guys again that are. I've always used the example with us. Hollywood Brown for us, the year that he blew up, started the young scout team. And I think like 4 or 5 games in, he had not hardly played any, and then all of a sudden he finishes the year with like 1,100 yards receiving. It just goes nuts. The second half of the season, a lot of that started by scout team, and he got some kind of time when we got up in games early in the year, made a couple of plays, and it just again went from a 2-3 to probably one of the top 2 or 3 best receivers in that league within a matter of 6 weeks. And so it can happen that fast. And we're going to need it to happen that fast. It's an underrated part of your roster. It's not building ourselves to win one game, right? We're building ourselves to try to win a lot of games and win games different ways and have to win games with different people. And to do that, you got to develop the entire roster.
We saw Corey Foreman today suited up. What's the pace? What's your pace to get him ramped up right now?
Yeah, no, he's got to get some reps. Unfortunately, missed more of the first couple of weeks here at camp than we would have wanted to miss. And so, we've got some time, but he's going to have to compete hard and catch up and be ready to roll. So we've got a few guys in that boat that unfortunately got a little dinged up. We're fortunate we really have avoided, for the most part, crazy serious injuries. Juge was certainly the worst of camp. So we have been fortunate from an overall perspective, but you do have a few guys like Corey that miss some real time that are going to have to catch up. And so, and as a result of that, some other guys have gotten opportunities and they've stepped up. So again, it'll be an ongoing battle. Ford's had a great attitude. He's been really bought in with everything we've done. So if he can keep himself on the field, I would expect him to improve quickly and have a shot to play.
With the safeties, aside from Kalen, what were you able to learn about that group with all the guys missing time?
Yeah, I thought Kalen had a really good camp. He's a tremendous playmaker. You notice a difference when he's on the field. There's just no question about it. I said Zamarian, I thought did a nice job. Alford did some really good things this spring or this camp. We got to see Shaw a little bit. Shaw got dinged up. He'll be back for us on Monday. So kind of excited to get him back in the fold. We worked Latrell there a little bit in camp, and thought he was pretty good. And then I think we're fortunate to have two guys in the nickel position, and Max and Jalen that we have a lot of confidence in that can also play multiple positions defensively as well. So it'll continue to be a battle. There's no question, and obviously getting a few of these guys back full go and kind of inserting them in that competition will be part of the next few weeks.
Thank you, Coach Riley.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.